As both my mom and my brother described, Dadaji had a very strong and unique thirst for knowledge, whether it be through reading Shashank stories or the latest Daniel Steele book. He always liked to kind of be ahead and know a lot more than what you see on TV or what you hear from people that you talk to. Always like having knowledge. And there were a few times where Dada's quest to have extra knowledge than people around him kind of got him into some trouble. He was always the last person you want to tell secrets to because he would find a way to blurt it out to somebody, whether it be a surprise party for someone or someone coming into town to surprise family members. He always liked to somehow, I think accidentally, let someone else know that, oh, by the way, Shashank's coming into town for the first time in 2 years, and he kind of lets the secret out. But I think he liked knowing that he had that extra knowledge on other people. One of the times I think is most personal to me was actually, I think it's about 6 years ago, almost to the date. I was bringing a friend over, this girl that I met in graduate school, so I knew Dada was going to be really excited about meeting somebody that one of the grandkids could bring over. And some of us were in Palm Springs, and I told him, and let's, for the sake of this story, call the girl Sapan. I told Dada, we were in Palm Springs walking around, and I was like, oh, Dada, just be prepared in about a week and a half. This girl that I met in graduate school in Michigan, Sapan, is going to come by and spend Thanksgiving with us and have the formal Thanksgiving Gujarati dinner, pani puri, and 7-layer dip. So I was like, Dada, be prepared. And you can see as we were walking, he kind of got like a little pep in his step. He was 89 at the time, but he had a little pep in his step. So we were walking side by side, no more words, we're just walking. All of a sudden he kind of zooms past me and walks towards where my dad is, a few feet ahead of me. And my dad notices Dada there is like, Dadaji, what's going on? And Dadaji looks at him and says, Pridesh is bringing home a Swedish girl in a week and a half. And my dad already knows that this girl's coming over, her name's Sapan. My dad's like, oh no, Dadaji, her name is Sapan. I was like, okay. Kind of walk side by side. 4 feet ahead is my mom. So my dad zooms past my dad, walks towards my mom. My mom's like, Dadaji, what's going on? And Dadaji says, Pridesh is bringing home a Swedish girl in 2 weeks. My mom again is like, what is this Swedish thing? And she knows that the girl's name is Sapan, very confused. She's like, oh, Dadaji, her name is Sapan, she's not Swedish. And I was like, yeah. So a week and a half goes by, and Thanksgiving comes, and this girl comes to the house, and my mom's youngest sister, Sinamasi, is there. We're all having dinner together at the dining table. We walk Sinamasi out to her car so she can drive home to Pasadena. And I already told this girl, Sapan, be prepared, my grandfather for some reason thinks you're Swedish, I'm not sure why. Just be prepared that might come up in conversation somehow. So we all walk, the family walks my Masi out to the car. Sapan stays with my grandfather and goes to hang out with him for a couple minutes while we're walking Masi to the car. And as we're walking back to the kitchen area, Sapan is talking with Dada, and Dada says, oh, so where in Sweden are you from? So, sometimes this thirst for knowledge and knowing things others don't know kind of gets him into trouble. But he is by far the best man that I've ever known. I love him to death, and I'll see him soon, hopefully.
So we are Barrel's sons, and they say that a man is judged by the people he leaves behind and the impact that he makes. And I look around this room and I see some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life, and people who have really impacted this world and made it a better place. And I think that's the one thing that Dadaji has always taught me, is that if you're strong, you can make an impact, and you can do an amazing thing. He raised 7 daughters, and that's pretty detrimental. Some pretty loud daughters, but So he's shown us that there is always strength that you can rely on and tap into to do great and amazing things. And for me, I know that as I move forward and do the things that I do, and hopefully make the world a better place the way I want to, that it'll be guided by Dada's light in his hand as he helps us do those amazing things. So for all of us to go out there and to continue to do what we do, remember that he has been there and he has guided us and he has helped us become as great as we are today. And for that is what I really love him for. And I will miss him dearly, and I will hopefully see him sometime in the future, and I will let him know that he has been able to help us make the world a much better place.
Well, I'm an engineer, I'm not very good with words, but there's 3 things that Dada's kind of instilled in me that I'll take on the rest of my life, and it's already been talked about, but the first one is his passion and joy for his family. So he always was smiling whenever he was at any conversation. People are yelling and screaming, there's chaos. We're late 3 hours to a party, he just kind of smiles, sits down, is calm. Hearing aids out, so it can be kind of, his ET hearing aids. The second value that he instilled in me is intelligence. You guys have all talked about it, but he learned how to use an iPad before my mom. I had to use an iPad. He could send email, go to news sites, use on Facebook. Crazy for a 95-year-old man to be doing at his age. And the last thing that I really took to heart and felt in our childhood is when we're sleeping, on the floor in Lansdowne for the reunions, and Dada was so used to having his little walks around the house, in the mornings, and get stampeded on by his feet, and you look up, and he just kind of doing these little circles around the house. So his physical and mental strength has always been one thing that's popped out to me as, a 95-year-old guy that's still walking on his own, has no support. He has his habits of going out for walks outside on his own or inside, and his ability to squeeze the heck out of your hand and move around joints that shouldn't be moving. Those are kind of 3 things that I've taken away from Dada. I'm really going to miss him, and yeah, that's all I can say. Thank you, Dada.
There you go. Better. So I'm Isha. I'm Zarna's daughter. She's a 6'1". Unfortunately, her and my parents and my granddad back there and my sister couldn't make it here. So I'm just going to say a few things for them. So we were lucky to have actually Dadaji stay with us for a couple of years when we were growing up in India. And him and David Dada back at home got very, very close. They would bunk together, share a room, play cards.